What's up, guys? Welcome back to Boxing X-Ray, and today we're gonna dive into the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury situation a bit more. I'm kind of gonna give you the reason why most boxing Deontay Wilder fans actually claim that there's a problem with Tyson Fury gloves, and why Deontay Wilder actually claimed that as well, and actually give you some breakdown on scenarios on how a glove is supposed to operate and what to expect from a glove in its operation. You know what I mean? When your hands is completely in the gloves and when your hands is not completely in the gloves. Bear in mind, these are just opinions, and these are opinions from people, the fans. The fans wanted me to do a video similar to this, so bear in mind these are just opinions and fans, and some of the stuff that I will be doing in this video should not be done in a professional fight or training camps or any type of fights at all. This video is only for educational purpose, on to give you a bigger picture on, you know, why these fans actually claim that Tyson Fury tampered with his gloves. Now, not only that, every video that I have put up in the clips, you can actually go to the full fight of the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight and actually see these yourself. And these are mostly highlights. You can actually see them in the highlights. I believe one of the clips where the highlights was taken from the third round, and it was sent to me. Somebody sent that to me. It was taken from the third round. And then another clip was from the 7th round highlight in the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight. And these are all highlights that was taken. I believe one of the network was actually trying to highlight what's going on, but couldn't say anything because they would damage the party, and you know what I mean, or damage their, you know, their whatever they got going on. And I believe another one of the network was just trying to conceal everything because I couldn't find any highlights from them, any reels or anything. But one network decided to put out the highlights, and in the highlights you can clearly see the indication of something, you know, the Tyson Fury gloves flip-flopping all around, and you know, certain stuff that these fans are actually claiming, Deontay Wilder fans are actually claiming that there was a problem with Tyson Fury glove. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a better insight on what the Deontay Wilder fan is actually trying to say and what Deontay Wilder was actually trying to say at the same time. Not saying these are his words, I'm just saying these are similarities on what maybe he was trying to put out there and actually get to the boxing community on what he believes that, you know, the problem with Tyson Fury glove was. And I'm gonna type that, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can recreate the same scenario of Tyson Fury gloves. Now, bear in mind, I have one of my hands wrapped and one that is not wrapped, and this is just to give you highlights on how much your wrist can bend and how much it can bend when your wrist is like wrapped. Now, here I can only bend my wrist in about 25 to a 28 degree angle. It will not make me go the complete 30. So once I put my hand straight, you'll actually see it's not a complete 30 degree angle. It's still lacking some degrees there. And this is just to show you that your wrist can only bend from anywhere from a 25 to 28 degrees. Some people, they can bend their wrist a little bit more, maybe double jointed, but I never seen anybody that can flex their wrist in a 50 degree angle. Even in the opposite direction, my wrist can only be bent about 20 degrees. It can't go, and it can't give me a full 30 on it. Now with the hand wrap here, straighten my elbow. Now you can see my wrist can only bend at 15 degrees. Roughly around 15 to 18. It's not giving me a complete 30 degrees either. So that's just to prove a point. The more your hand is wrapped, or if your hand is wrapped, the harder it is to actually bend your wrist. And the reason why we wrap our hands in boxing is to basically just protect our ulna, protect the wrist bone, and to also protect the knuckles as well. If you flex the wrist in an abnormal way, then it will result in breakage of bones and can, you know, create permanent damage. So it's very, very important for you to wrap your hands, and this is the reason why we do it. Bear in mind that a cast wrapping for professional fighters, it's 10 times stronger than a cotton wrap, which means with the cotton wrap, it's gonna be easier for me to bend my wrist. But when my hands is professionally wrapped, like how most professional fighters wrap their hands by their training camp, it's going to be harder for you to actually flex your wrist because of the material that they use. And not only that, they also tape down the wrist to make sure your hands are straight so you don't break your hands or fracture your ulna. You fracture your ulna, guys, you will never have the same punching power And this will just be because of mental, he will have these mental flashbacks, and also it might hinder you, physically as well, because every time you go to throw a punch, you try to get the punch right, or you have this mental flashback that you might fracture your ulnar again. And trust me, it lingers with you for a while. So be careful and make sure you always wrap your hands. Now here, I'm gonna put my hands fully inside of the boxing glove. Now my hands is fully inside the boxing gloves. And what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to recreate the same bending motion that Tyson Fury was showing in the third round of the Deontay Wilder fight. And as you can see here, the top of the glove is not flexing. The wrist of the glove is not flexing at all. It's in a straight manner. My fist is folded. It's in a straight manner. Now I'm gonna open the palm and see if I can actually flex it. And as you can see, the palm is open, but the wrist is not flexing. It's more straight than anything else. Still not flexing. And this is an open palm, guys. See, open palm. It's not flexing at all. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull my hand down a little bit out of the gloves. Bear in mind, this is illegal in any professional fight, training camps, or anything of that. It should not be done. This is just for educational purposes. Now, I'm gonna pull my hand down a little bit. And notice the hand wrap, you can actually see the hand wrap a bit more. And most Deontay Wilder fans was pointing this out, saying, if you pull your hands down, you're gonna actually see the hand wraps a little bit more. So that's just a note that you should take there. Now here, I'm gonna try to flick the shot. And as you can see, the wrist of the glove is starting to bend a bit more. You can actually hear it flopping around. It started to flop around a bit more. That's just because my hand is not in the proper compartment of the gloves. And this is what it creates. It creates a flappy wrist, or at the same time, in the ring, we will actually call this glove tampering. So, as you can see there. Now, not only that, guys, what I'm actually gonna point out to you is that if your hands is not completely in the gloves, the shot doesn't really have anything on it. It doesn't hurt. Put my hands back in there. It doesn't hurt at all. Now take how fast it's flapping around. Now what I'm gonna actually do, and this should not be done, guys, this is just for educational purposes. I'm just gonna see if I could, give Deontay Wilder claim that Tyson Fury had something in his glove, and because he had something in his glove, his skull was dented from the fight. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually put a little bit of weight inside of the top of the glove, and just to see how it perform, and just to see if it have any, any stunning effect on it, to see if it actually hurt even more. Now give me a minute. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna have some glue here. I'm just gonna put it inside of the glove. Bear in mind, guys, this should be done only, this is for educational purposes, should not be done in a fight, and in any competition or any scenarios. Now here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the wrist down so the gloves can actually stick to my hands a bit more. All right, cool. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see if I can punch and see if the gloves is still gonna have that same floppy motion. And it does. It's not flopping around as fast, but it's definitely flopping around a bit. Now let me open my hands, open palm, just to see if it's gonna flop around just the same way. And it sure is flopping around, even with an open palm. And I can't completely put my hands back in these gloves because of the stuff that is inside of it. So I can't put my hands completely back in the glove compartment. And it's flopping around. Now, this hurts. It does hurt, and it stings a little bit more. I can actually feel the impact a bit more heavy. Now, let's move this for a while. Now, this is what most of the Deontay Wilder fans was actually claiming, and I can't believe I recreated the same the same scenario. And you can do this yourself, you know what I mean? You can recreate this, you know, just for educational purposes, or just to try to see what these Deontay Wilder fans is actually talking about. Now, what we're gonna actually do, here I have a lace-up boxing gloves, and this is a brand new boxing gloves. And what you should understand here with these brand new boxing gloves, the face of the glove, as you can see there, it has no dents. It's a complete face. It's very smooth and it has no dents. Keep in mind, this is an extra stitching right here. You almost can see the stitching. Could you see it there? Right, that means the padding has been restitched or resewn. And this is completely normal from some boxing gloves, but I don't think Everlast do this type of stuff. I just think they maybe do it, but I just think this is just for like to protect from thumb injuries. You can see it there, the restitching. Yep. So, and this is one of the things you should understand with brand new boxing gloves. The gloves has to be brand new. Most of the time in a boxing scenario, you should always have brand new gloves and not used gloves in a professional fight. The gloves should be brand new, and I think most fighters actually agree on this before they actually enter into a contract. Now, here I have a used gloves. Now, the difference between a used gloves and a brand new gloves, let me force my hands in there. What you will actually see with a used glove, you'll actually see my fingerprints. Let me hold it up to the screen. And this is just because of my knuckles actually protruding and there's no padding in the face of the glove. The front of the glove is usually called the face of the glove. And you can see each one of my finger lining. And this is because the glove is actually taking the shape of my fist because there's no padding inside of it. This does increase your punching powers. Not only that, it makes the gloves a lot lighter, so you can actually punch faster and your shot would be a bit more heavy as well. But take note that it doesn't have the same smooth surface or round surface as a brand new boxing gloves. And that's because the padding has been removed from the front of the gloves. Now, this is one of the same note that these Deontay Wilder's fans was actually taking and saying that there was padding being removed from Tyson Fury gloves, and he come up with some pictures of the first fight. You can actually pull these pictures up yourself. Just go back, watch the full fight, and watch the highlights of the fight, and right there you'll see everything in the first fight and the second fight. Just watch the highlights. On a certain network was actually trying to give you know, some gems to me in what's going on. These were gems because without them I wouldn't even see this stuff, and I would actually claim that maybe Tyson Fury won that fight. But when I watched these highlights and look into it a bit more, I actually saw what Deontay Wilder was talking about in his claim that Tyson Fury cheated him out of the fight. And I actually believe these claims based on what I know now and what I can actually, you know, show in these videos and show in my experience from dealing with boxing gloves over the years. Now here you go. Like I said, no lining. Now, another thing I want to point out, guys, that in boxing itself, that, you know, the media is going to always cover up certain scenarios on what's going on. Not only that, my channel has been heavily tampered with since I, you know, made these type of videos out there. So if you're not getting my notification, I think you have to unsubscribe and then subscribe again, and then the notification will start again. But this is just another one, and I think this is a really great video just to show you guys, and actually, you know, so we can have a conversation of what's going on in this scenario and actually have some pointers to what's going on. Now, this is it for today. I'm out.